Hello everyone, good afternoon. In this presentation, I discuss the film Immaculate with the psychoanalytic theory of Freud and Lacan. The focus is on how the film depicts repression, power, and control over the female body. A psychoanalytic reading of control, repression, and female body politic in Immaculate. Background and problem statement. Background: Immaculate explore themes of repression, bodily control, and religious power. The presence of trauma and manipulation makes it suitable for Freud and Lacan's psychoanalytic framework. Problem statement. First, how does Immaculate represent and psychological trauma? Second, how can Freud and Lacan's theories explain the protagonist's psychological dynamic? The background of this study is that Immaculate portrays repression, trauma, and religious control, especially over the female body. These themes make the film relevant to psychoanalytic. From this, the research problems are how repression and trauma are represented in the film, and how Freud and Lacan's theory can explain the protagonist's psychological experience. Next, objective and significant. Objective: to describe the form of repression, control, and psychological conflict in the film. To analyze the main character using ID, ego, superego, and the imaginary symbolic real register. Significant: contribute to film studies using psychoanalytic, provide reference for research in film psychology and gender study. The objectives are to describe the form of repression and psychological conflict in the film, and to analyze Cecilia using Freud's id-ego, superego, and Lacan's imaginary symbolic real. The significance of this study is to contribute to film analysis using psychoanalytic approach, especially related to psychology and gender. Next, theoretical framework and method. Theoretical framework: Freud, ID, ego, superego, defense mechanism, repression, denial, projection. Lacan, imaginary, symbolic, real. And then method: qualitative, film analysis, data search, scene, dialogue, visual symbol. Analysis step: identification, classification, and interpretation using psychoanalytic concept. The theoretical framework uses Freud's structural model of the psyche and defense mechanism and Lacan's three registers. The method is qualitative film analysis using scene, dialogue, and visual symbol as data. And then next, analysis, brief analysis. ID, hidden desires of religious leader makes us sacred rituals. Ego, Cecilia attempts to stay rational. Superego, restrictive convent norm and forcing obedience. Imaginary, the convent's holy and peaceful image. And then symbolic, religious language used as a tool of authority. And then real, force, pregnancy, and trauma that cannot be symbologically conferred. From the analysis, the idea appears in the hidden desire mass as religious ritual, the ego in Cecilia's attempts to stay rational, and the superego in the strict oppressive convent rules. Lacan's imaginary is the holy image of the convent. The symbolic is the religious language used used to control, and the real is the first pregnancy and trauma that break through the illusion. And then conclusion. The film exposed institutional repression over the female body. Psychoanalysis revealed the trauma, manipulation, and inner conflict experienced by Cecilia. And the final, I represent resistance after extreme psychological and psychical oppression. In conclusion, the film exposed institutional repression toward the female body, and psychoanalysis helped reveal the deeper conflict and trauma shaping the narrative. Okay, guys, that's all from me. Thank you.